Welcome to the Two Peacocks Travel Podcast, where women, culture, and purpose meet the road. We're Anna and Sandy, former hospital administrators turned global travelers, and we believe travel can change how you see the world and yourself. This is a space for stories of reinvention, immersive travel, and the journeys that shape who we're becoming. If you've been feeling the nudge to explore more, this one's for you.
Good morning, Peacock.
Buenos dias, Peacock. How are you?
I am great. Is today Friday? It is Friday, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ask me.
That's
I'm
what
always late.
happens.
I'm always early, late. I don't know.
Well, that's what happens when you travel all the time. You forget what day it is, right? When you don't have a 9 to 5. Sorry, Doctor
Or what time? Or what
Ryan.
it is.
And that too. So I'm so excited because
Oh,
today
me too.
we have a special guest. And and I'll tell you how I met her. So today on our podcast, we're gonna have Dr. Mona Raed. And Dr. Mona Raed is an adult and pediatric palliative care physician and professor based in Indianapolis, who specializes in helping individuals and families navigate grief, loss, and the emotional and spiritual complexities of life's most difficult transitions. And really, in a big picture, she's the kind of person that you want in your life when you're going through some of the, ding dongs in life. So, welcome, Dr. Rayed.
Thank you for
Welcome.
having me. This is so exciting.
We are so excited. I have to say that travel gives us a lot of benefits, a lot of perks, a lot of fun things. But I think one of the greatest gifts that we get from travel is meeting individuals like you. So when Sandy told me she met you, I was just in awe. So I'm excited for this conversation.
So, tell us where we met, Dr. Rayed.
Morocco in Marrakesh airport
In the
after we went to the
bathroom,
bathroom and washed our hands.
What?
like good healthcare workers.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember I saw your scarf and I go, I love your kafia. And it just like really spun the conversation and started it, which was lovely. I was so
And then from the
excited to meet.
restroom to baggage claim, the whole
Yes.
conversation. And then her friend was there. And then we were talking about travel, and then we were talking about hospitals, and we were talking about pediatric, and then she said palliative care. And I was like, no way. She said, work in palliative care with our
Right?
clothes.
Yes.
And then as our bags are starting to come out, I said, we have a podcast, and we would love to have you on the podcast. So let's connect real quick. And that was it. Like, that was it.
Then
And
she
then I
comes
said,
home.
I'm starting this IG thing. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but like, let's connect on IG, like two really cool people. And there was that. And that was it.
And there you go. And so when she came home and she was so excited to tell me, I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to meet her. And she was like, yes. So when you got onto IG and I started seeing, your activity, I'm like, she seems so cool. She's like, yeah, she's just getting on. I'm like, oh, like us, we're just getting started too. I mean, 3 years in, but you know what? We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a little scary and so exciting. And you two are just so welcoming. So I'm excited about it. Thank
It's the
you.
perfect
Thank
vibe.
you. But let's back up. Anna sends me a message. It goes, who's Dr. Mona Rayed? She's following us. You know who that is? I said, yeah, I just met her at the airport. She's like, oh my God, here we go.
Well, because you have to remember the doctor titles
Yes.
for us is in the past.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking, is this someone from our past? Like I'm dead, I didn't know. And she's like, no, no, no. She starts telling me the story. I said, of course you would meet somebody. And lo and behold, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, my girlfriend goes, of course you met somebody in the airport. Of course you did.
We were connecting when we were both in Morocco, and she was like, are you having a good time? I said, I'm having a blast. So how did you like Morocco?
I mean, it was amazing to the point where I think I posted so many IG things on there because I really felt like it was a place where I got to form a little bit of my identity again
Yes.
and ground myself in something different and kind of spiritually connecting too.
Hmm.
And especially being in the desert, being alone, super quiet was really such a grounding, meaning making experience for me. And I feel like I sort of found grief there again and was able to process it. And just watching your stuff in conjunction with like what I was doing, I was like, yeah, all of this. So it was a really wonderful experience. I mean, the people were lovely. I felt
Mm,
safe there. The food is great. The culture's beautiful. The
mm.
color. So it was wonderful. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
It's vibrant. I love
Yeah.
Morocco.
Very vibrant. Yes. And I think as a woman, there's something really grounding about being in places that are so authentic and historical. I don't know. There's just something about it that really helps you find, not even find yourself, but form a little part of you again.
It is that authenticity piece, right?
Mm,
And it's almost like a little bit of, "Ooh, this happened. Okay."
yes.
And then you start to feel what does that feel like for you? So I think Morocco is a great place of what you said, grounding and
Yes.
processing, because there's another component to that, but we'll get into that. But
Yes, we
oh my
would.
gosh.
So much to talk about.
So, Dr. Ryan, why don't you give us a little background about, where your family's from and, where you went to school? Just give us a little background about your life.
I would love to. So I am Middle Eastern. I actually was born in the Middle East, came here when I was 4. So there's a lot of history there. I probably won't get into that because that might need to be another episode of like grounding and forming self and travel. When I came here to the States, my dad was really redoing all of his ECFMGs and all the things. So we moved a lot when I was a kid. Every 2 years, we moved to a different state. So I think movement makes you much more tolerant. It helps you see people in a different light. It gives you a little bit of a different perspective on the world and people. And when we finally moved to Ohio, I was able to ground there a little bit more as a teenager. And I was absolutely resistant about becoming a doctor. It wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't following my father's footsteps. And I was going to go into fashion design or architectural design come hell or high water. And then I applied to 22 colleges and got accepted to this combination medical school. So as you do college and med school in 6 years, which is FYI insane for the record.
Mhm.
So did that, and the whole way through, I loved everything, but it always came back to the kids. Like I just loved the kids, right? And so even when I wanted to be a surgeon, I was like, I'm going to do pediatric surgery. And then it really, I realized, okay, I'm going to do pediatric residency. I really love the children, did that, and was going to do cardiology because I love the heart. And I found this thing called palliative care through many experiences that I'd had in the hospital where I recognized that as a physician, sometimes we can't fix people. Sometimes we can't fix the kids, we can't fix the adults, but we can always heal. And that's really what our jobs are about, are healing people through touch, through love, through compassion, through words. And so palliative care kind of fell in my lap. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll do this whole thing. It's called palliative care. I'm going to do it for a year. I'm going to do the fellowship. But then I'm going to cardiology because I like to be in the cath lab. I like to stick people. I like to do things. And while I was in fellowship, I just fell in love with it. And so I have been navigating very complex, potentially life limiting conditions with children my entire career, from being in their mommy's bellies all the way till they're born and then beyond, and navigating very difficult decision making, symptom management, and sitting in just like the difficulty of life. And now I have officially taken care of babies in their mommy's bellies all the way to a 104-year-old. And so
Wow.
Wow.
it is a pretty cool privilege had to be able to see the gamut of life and the privilege of sitting people in truly the most vulnerable moments of their life. I'm really lucky. I tell people I have the coolest job in the hospital. So that's the
Wow.
career.
Speechless. It is a it that I can't even imagine, you have a huge gift. It's such a special gift because
Thank
not
you.
not everyone can do this. So congratulations, and I wanna, like, stand up and applaud, like, wow.
You're so
I want to give
sweet.
you a
Thank
hug.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
I wish we
I
could.
know.
At some point, we will get
But
together and
really,
give
Yes.
it's
Yes.
about humanity, and at the end of the day, we're all human. And
Mhm.
we all have to support each other emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, however we can to grow through the tough times. And one of the things that I learned in my career was when I used to walk into a patient room and, I was briefed that whatever, this patient is not going to make it. I used to just look at the patient and say, or think, I hope whatever you were doing yesterday, before you were brought here was a good day, that you told your family that you loved them, that you were happy, because how horrible that this is it. This is your expiration. So, I've always made it, and when I met Anna, we talked about this. I made it very much part of my life to always tell the people that I are my family, my friends, or whatever, I love you. See you next time. Make it intentional because we don't know. And that's the reality of working in a hospital world, right? That you are face to face with death every day, whether it's a patient or a colleague or somebody. And you have to be intentional about here today and realizing that, the words here today, gone tomorrow are more real than anything when you work in that environment. And people like you really do ease the pain and the reality that's coming.
Thank you. I'm really privileged and I really do feel very blessed and it's not just lip service. Like I really feel that every single day. Yeah.
I was telling Dr. Raya that when we met Dr. Close, who is a retired palliative care doctor also at our hospital, I had told her that I needed to be by my bedside when I was ready to go, and she laughed and told me that that was not going to happen because she was going to go first. Because I was like, that voice, I need that voice, right, Emma?
Soothing. I mean, it's a soothing on a whole other level. I had never, well, first of all, I didn't even know there was a name for that, palliative care. When I started the hospital, I was brand new to the whole environment.
Mm.
The only experience, unfortunately, that I had was taking care of my dad, who passed away from pancreatic cancer. And no one told me about palliative care. No one told me that it was about healing and not fixing. So right now, when you said that, I thought, I wish someone would have said, Anna, you can't fix this because I was banging my head against the wall. How do I cure him? Here we go.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
And then, walking into the hospital, seeing these people, I do hope that the people that work there understand because you don't always know the position you're in. You're put for a reason. But to be able to share with them, that's why I said you have a gift. Anyone that crosses your path is the process is gonna be smoother, where I wish I would have known, in the past, but it's healing.
Because we're
Yeah.
fixers. We fix
We're
things.
fixers. You just tell me what the problem is, and let me tell you, we'll put it together, and this is part of the component of, when you come to this part of life, you can't fix it. You have
Yes.
to start healing.
It is very true, and I think the reality is one of the things I talk to families about all the time when they really are in that fork in the road, and many of my patients live for a very long time because it's not all death and dying. A lot of it is but they're navigating serious
Yeah,
illness,
yeah,
and they're faced with mortality on a very regular basis,
right,
unlike many of us, right?
right.
And so, even in the moments where they hit that fork in the road where they go, "Okay, I cannot fix this. I can't change it. I can't fix the underlying condition." I tell families, "You can always do something."
Yeah,
And that means love, compassion, telling stories, rubbing feet, giving kisses, giving them a meal that they want, the Diet Coke that or the regular Coke they've
yeah,
been craving because everybody's
right.
well,
Give
gonna
them the
have
regular Coke.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, the ice cream, whatever it is that that person needs to feel like a whole human because the reality is when people are in a hospital and they're very sick and they have these conditions, they become one, they become a pharmacy and so do their caregivers. They become so medicalized and they no longer feel like a human being.
yeah,
And
it's
so
true.
my job is reminding people, you are a whole human, and so are the people that love and care for you. So let's find those things even when we can't change the trajectory. And that's the important part.
When my grandmother was 90 when she actually started to go through the process, and she had dementia, but it wasn't like she had diabetes, nothing. She was pretty healthy. And we took her to the hospital because she had a fainting spell. She never left the hospital. She was in the hospital for a month. But my mom's biggest regret was that, she asked for coffee. My grandma loved coffee. And the nurse told her no, because they were going to intubate her. That was the last time, of course, she was going to be without, a tube in her mouth or whatever. And my mom to this day has that regret. She says, why did I listen? That was the last thing she wanted was, a cup of coffee. And I'm like, mommy,
Cafecito.
you just have to live with it. Fortunately, you can give her coffee. She's right here on the mantle. Give her coffee. But that's an intentional thing now, again,
Mhm.
with our parents.
Yeah.
My mom wants to go, I don't know, buy another pair of shoes. You know what I do? I take her to buy another pair of shoes because I don't know. You know,
That's right.
she wants to eat Chinese food every day. Well, I guess we're eating Chinese food every day because it's not just at the bedside. From now, she's
Yeah.
79. You know what? Life is again here today, gone tomorrow. So we've got to also prepare ourselves that life is a little bit of a roller coaster, but nothing is that serious that we can't be in a happy situation to really show our loved ones that we love them. So there is no regret. I really do believe that because when my grandma passed and, we're at the funeral home, I got the privilege of painting her nails, to make sure she looked beautiful, but I didn't cry because I didn't have any regrets. I knew she was gonna pass. Life, 90, you're way past, the threshold for a lot of people, and a lot of people do cry because they have a lot of regret. I should've, woulda, coulda, but you didn't, and now we're here, the person's gone. So I always try to be intentional about doing the things. Anna and I are very, we take our moms everywhere we can take them. Like, now they're hung on going to Japan, and we're gonna have to make it happen.
I was gonna say, don't forget, we already said it.
My mom says to me, I said, "Oh, you wanna go to Morocco for your birthday?" She's like, it's too far. I can't be on an airplane for 12 hours. It's just, I'm getting older." And then she comes back, she's like, "I was watching on TV about Japan, I
My God.
really love that restaurant Kabuki. So if the food is like Kabuki food in Japan, I wanna go to Japan." I said, "Flight is 12 hours." She's like, "I'll be fine." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay. I see
Food
you, girl."
won't be like kabuki, but okay.
I won't tell her that. She'll have to figure it out.
That is amazing. That is the quintessential meaning of the human will to live, thrive, and have quality of life. Like, if
Yes.
if there's that will to get hell bent to get to Japan, your mom's gonna get to Japan.
She's gonna get it.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah.
For
my mom right now is in Spain for 90 days. I was opposed to it. I kept saying, "You can't, your blood pressure." I was looking for everything. And then finally I thought, you know what, Anna? This is what makes her happy. She wants to go back home. Let her do it. And she is enjoying herself, sending me pictures. She sent me a picture. I don't know who this guy is in uniform because right now it's, during Easter time or whatever they're doing. And she's like, we're doing this and we're doing that. I'm like, she's living. She's living life. Let her do it. She's enjoying it. So I'm like, okay, we'll deal
Absolutely.
with whatever, you know. So yeah, that's how I think that working in the hospital gives you a different perspective. I think everyone should work in the hospital at some point in their life just to understand this.
I do. I think that too, or at least navigate something with a person who's sick, because it really forces you to look at life a little bit differently. The end of it, all anybody ever really wants is a few things. They want a quality of life, and everybody defines that really differently. They want meaning in their life, like something that gives them meaning to move forward, right? And they want to feel valued and validated. Outside of that, I mean, really, that's the core of what humans need and want in their life. So it's, good job for your mom being in Spain.
These 2 ladies are
Pass
too
it
much.
along.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do have a
Uh,
question for you, Dr. Ryan. So
Yeah, of course.
you work in palliative care where grief is often associated with death. So how do you define grief beyond death, especially when it comes to losing identity? And
Yes.
we were talking about that earlier, losing relationships or some of your life roles. I mean, that's another type of loss that we suffer, not just death itself. This is something that Anna and I kind of discovered as we were weaning ourselves off from our past roles into being entrepreneurs and full-time travelers, we discovered that are we going through a grieving process? It was very hard to shed the titles, not
Yes.
being in charge of something or, making decisions that were gonna, make it or break it. Like, no longer were we in that position. What is your opinion or your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, so I think in palliative care, but actually in medicine in general, whether you're a nurse, a physician, a healthcare worker, we talk about grief as it pertains to death. But that is actually not reality. It's a much bigger issue because it really is about any meaningful loss. And there are so many of those. There's a loss of a relationship, there's a loss of a job, whether taken from you or you giving it up, right? Or loss of a relationship, whether you're doing it willingly and signing those divorce papers because you want to get the heck out of there, or it's taken from you, whether it's a loss of children moving out of the home, right? An identity that has completely shifted and how you saw life moving forward and it's now taken away yields grief in any capacity. So it's really not just death. That's kind of the pinnacle that we talk about, but that's not the entirety of people's life. They grieve and lose many things over time, especially as women, right? Like I know we're talking to a lot of women right now. And the reality is, as women, we lose and grieve things at varying stages of our life. And we need to provide space for that and honor that as evolving human beings who are becoming.
I think, to your point about, we're going to grieve throughout our lives in different perspectives. But, Sandy mentioned earlier, we left our position our titles, responsibilities, and we entered into this unknown, which is great. We're like, okay, we were doing this and we're getting it done, but I don't think we realized that we were grieving. I don't think that we realized that we had to let go of that identity fully to enter into this new identity. It was kind of like there was a little bit of in between, and it's like, wait, am I still this, or do I take this and use it here? But what are, now in hindsight, I think about the things that happened to us and things that I've gone through, but I wish that I would have known to look for signs. Like, what signs, can people look for to know, hey, get ready, because this is something that's going to, because you have to process it. You can't ignore it. I'm one somebody that says, okay, Anna, buckle down and just get pushed through. That served its purpose for many, many years. I would always say if it's something difficult, okay, today it's this, but in 24 hours, it won't be this anymore. And I would just push through, but you can't push through this part. And so, what are some of the signs that people can look for and then to understand how to address it?
Yeah. I want to just echo exactly what you said. It's actually not just the loss itself, it's who we were in it that we lose. It's that identity, it's how we identify with ourselves and others, the roles that we've had. And so for many people, they really don't recognize that because they're like, it's not a big deal. I should just move on, right? Like, why am I upset about this? Like, I have all this time in the world now that I'm retired. Yay, I can go golf or I can paint or I can do these things or whatever it is. But the reality is, you were a person getting up, getting dressed, going to work. People were looking to you to be a
Hmm.
certain way.
Hmm.
It was a role that you filled, whether it was in a job or parenthood or whatever else. And that has now been taken away. And even though it's a part of you, you don't get to practice it every day. And so a lot of what actually happens is the initial excitement. And so people aren't expecting the down period of, oh my God, I feel fatigued.
Mm.
I'm not feeling motivated to get up and do stuff or get
Hmm.
dressed or eat. I'm eating too much. I mean, like, that's my problem usually when I'm stressed and
Me.
grieving loss. Like, oh, chips, right? And like all the bad things. Um, I feel like I'm stuck, like that very stuck feeling of I can't move forward. I don't know what I want, indecisiveness, because in our jobs, in our previous roles, our identities, there is something where people call you to be decisive. And now you no longer have to do that. So, indecisiveness, oversleeping, undersleeping, big things, spinning, you can't calm your brain down. And then some people have the opposite of like feeling stuck. They have the restless. I got to move. I got to do something. For me, and I can speak from experience, I'm an escaper. So, like, I just want to run away when I feel overwhelmed. And I know this about myself. It's somewhat maladaptive coping, but that's also why I travel because it's like the healthy way to do it, you know? Um, yeah, totally, right? But there is this unease, this feeling of something unsettled inside of me because the body is always seeking to replace what is gone. And so if the body doesn't get attended to, it just spirals. And this is how it does it. So really recognizing those things and not thinking you're crazy is really important. And giving space to it and just allowing yourself to feel that is crucial.
And
Well,
what did
I
we
can.
do? We went out and started a travel business. I mean, Jesus.
Was gonna say, I'm like, check, 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 and the travel, that's our escape. That's our escape. To us, is like, okay, so when's the next trip? Because I'm ready to
And so
go,
Anne calls
right?
me. She's like, "Well, when are we leaving again?" I was like, "Girl, we're gonna be gone for a month and a half. What are you talking about?"
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
you mentioned the part about giving yourself space.
Uh-huh.
I know, and I probably can speak on behalf of Sandy as well. We meet all those check boxes. Everything you've listed, getting up in the morning and now we have nowhere to go. Like, I don't want to put on a face of makeup. I don't want to get dressed. I want to stay in my PJs, right? But that motivation or the spinning of the head, like everything you said correlates exactly. The component for me, the missing part that I didn't recognize or didn't know to identify was giving myself the space.
Yes.
That part.
Yes.
That's the part that is like, wow, that's what
Yeah.
I'm missing.
Well, you
Yes,
know,
because oh, go ahead. I think it's because the reality is these are not honored griefs. Like, in our
Mm,
society, when a
mm,
person dies, right, there's a period. There's
yes.
a funeral, right? There's like a wake, a period of mourning, everybody's sending casseroles, there's the cards, there's the 7,000 flowers, right? That you're like, damn it, now I have to take care of something, right? Like all those things that happen. But, like,
People are acknowledging that there was a loss. No one acknowledges.
got it. Now, the acknowledgement, though, what happens is you get a divorce party,
I
you
need
get a
it.
retirement party,
Anna,
right?
I need a
You get
divorce party.
You need a
party.
divorce party, and I need a retirement party. So we didn't
There
get
you go.
that.
We're gonna have one.
Darn, see? Well, there you go, right? But there's usually the acknowledgement isn't a sad acknowledgement.
No.
It's a
And it's a
it
marking of a period ending. We didn't
yeah,
get that. Okay,
yes.
Sandy, we have a
And
party to
so
do.
yeah, so now you know what to do. It's also recognizing that this is actually a very sad time for people, even when it because you can live in 2 places. You can be joyful, but you can also be grieving and feel like you're losing something that's really important to you and meaningful to your life. And so because that happens, we then internalize that and go, "Well, we're crazy for not being happy. Why are we, like, perseverating on this? We should move on. At least it's not like this. It could be so much worse. Like, I'm not dying. This is a good thing. I chose this, right? I should see the silver lining in this."
Mhm.
And people say those things to us too, which probably doesn't help, right? So that's the part is that when we are internalizing that it should be a space of good things coming, we then discredit the sadness and the grief that we're experiencing, and we do not allow ourselves to just live in that. Like we
And
almost gaslight ourselves, right? Like
Mhm.
we
yes.
gaslight our
That
feelings.
that part.
Yes.
So 2 things. So when I filed for divorce from my marriage, and I remember it was just it was so crazy. It was my son was little, he was like a year and a half years old, and my ex-husband was just not going down without a fight. And I remember being in front of the mirror in the restroom, and I was brushing my teeth and I was crying. And I remember thinking to myself, "Why are you crying? You wanted this. You want to get out of this." But I remember thinking to myself, what is it that you're crying about?" And then it took some time to understand answering my own questions was I'm grieving the loss of my marriage, of what I had planned in my mind, right?
Mhm.
I had all these plans and everything just went down. And but I created it, but I was still sad about that. And the same thing happened again where not necessarily that I was grieving, but when I was reaching out to different attorneys about my case against the county, I was basically told, what are you so upset about? Like you should be happy. You're being moved to another department. You're gonna be making less money. You're gonna be less responsibilities and the same kind of money. I mean, that's the goal for everybody. And I was like, I don't think people understand. And I went through a bunch of people who kept telling me that. And is your money gonna be affected? I was like, no, my money's not being affected, but I am being demoted for no reason. I don't know. No, there's no case there. I was all these attorneys until I found the right one. She told me, no way, this is not happening. To my point, it was like I was going through something and everybody was like, "You should be happy." What? Like, "Oh, you don't understand. This is a whole process." And like you were saying, going through the process of recognizing what you're going through and then people telling you it's going to be okay or whatever, like you were saying, that's kind of doesn't come across as helpful. Unfortunately, it felt more like I was crazy and I was making things up and I was grieving for no reason. Like, am I just being like there's a Spanish word, malcriada, which means is like somebody who
Spoiled
is just a
little
spoiled brat,
little
but it took some time to really process all that to kind of come. And of course, Anna was very helpful in my process. And she was kind of like, no, girl, we're doing this. Okay. But thank
you
God
know,
having friends that can really help you through a process like that.
But, to kind of piggyback on what Sandy's saying is that I didn't know how to help, right? And there was one moment where Sandy and I took off to Arizona. And if I think back, she was not the Sandy I knew. Super quiet, very distant, but I just stood there by her. And we went to Arizona, and I remember there was one night that we had dinner, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna go back to the room. We're not gonna go hang out at the bar. We're not gonna go walk around because it's not Sandy." And I thought to myself, she needs her time. And I let her, by 6 o'clock, I think we were each in our own rooms. And I remember calling my husband. I'm like, Sandy's not okay. Like I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to help her. So the only thing I knew is like give her space. And when she was ready, I was there. And that's how, I watched her go through all of this, and not many people know what that was like. I mean, there was a period of time that Sandy wasn't Sandy who you know today, and it's like now she's like all this vibrancy, and sometimes I'm like, "Man, girl, I can't keep up with you?" But that's our friendship. That's how it works. It's kind of like a little bit of, it's like, "Okay, no. And she knows when something's wrong with me, she's like, "Ooh," and she just stands there. That's all. That's all we need. It's just someone that we know that if we needed help, they're there. And that's the foundation of our friendship. And
I
here we
love
are 4 years in, and we can talk about it now. Like, in the past, you would have us in tears by now because it was the anger, the disappointment, the hurt, major hurt, because we are very giving people. And what we did for a living, we did it out of the heart. We didn't just do it for a paycheck. We did it because we wanted to help our community and the people. And to feel that, to be crossed this way, you're kind of like, what in the world? So, now talking about it is like, okay, this is the healing component. This is the space that we're talking about. So I appreciate that you put words to it because I had no idea how to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have really said so much of what I talk to patients and families and friends about all the time is that the reality is grief. We have these like 5 stages in the textbook, right? Like there's the 5 stages of grief,
Yeah,
right?
there's a
Like
book up
we
there. I
and
have the book
anger.
from college. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
it's sociology of death. So it's right there.
That's hilarious. My gosh, that is a oldie but a goodie. That's really funny. So it's like denial. We have anger, we have bargaining, we have depression, then we finally have acceptance. I get all that. I've read the textbooks. I know a lot about this, but the reality is like it's kind of funny to me because it's not linear. Like there is a moment your friend will be like, "Oh my god, girl, we're going out. This is going to be amazing." Blah blah. And then the next minute she's like, "Yes, I
Yep.
can't."
Yep.
Yep.
What the hell just
Wha-
happened? Right?
Yep.
Because you are literally roller coastering through every possible emotion. So, like, there's these 5 stages, but there's the 1,000 other emotions that are actually in between it. It's like, I'm pissed off at the world. I'm pissed off at my ex. I'm pissed off at all these people in the hospital administration, but also I kind of love them and I really did miss them. And like, oh my God, I was really cool with them sometimes, but I kind of hated myself. Like,
Yeah.
it is a million and one emotions and they cycle through. There's no linear, it's like I tell people, it's the roller coaster you never freaking wanted to get on.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. No
you
one
are
told me I was on it.
no.
I'm sure it's her dog. So last podcast we had, we were guests on someone's podcast, and
Yeah.
Empy, he's very attached to her. He came in, I don't know what he did, completely disconnected her computer. We're like, oh my God. So needless to say, we have to re-record some portions of that because, so
That's
today she's like, I'm locking him up and that's it. So I'm sure he got out or something.
she's
But this
freaking
is
out.
this is a reality of working from home. And sometimes we just laugh. We're like, oh well, it is
It's
what it is.
he's mad at you.
He needs time out. Like
It's
Sandy
Camila.
gets all like,
Camila. Don't even
He needs
don't go.
naughty corner.
it's Camila.
She's doing her
My
job.
Camila can do no harm. She has 2 dogs. I tend to favor Camila because Camila reminds me of my past dog who passed away, Daisy. Looks
Yeah.
identical to her. So I'm like, you can't touch Camila. Leave Camila out of this.
Spiritually, that's my dog. Yeah. Got it.
Right? Exactly. I'm like,
My spirit
don't
animal.
my spirit animal. Camila. See, there she is. To me, that's Daisy. I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, Daisy.
She's looking for the
You wanna talk
squirrel.
about grief and loss?
Right?
Tell us all about it.
She's like, I had babies and they took them away from me.
Okay, that is a
That's a
whole
I don't know the
whole
story.
other
whole
conversation.
'nother podcast, girl.
I don't know the story. She has TTs right here, and she wasn't from a puppy mill, unfortunately, when I adopted her. Go
Mm,
outside doing this. Come on. Let's go. Everybody outside.
That's
Let's go do dog
hilarious.
things. Go outside and do dog things.
dog things. Yeah, go do dog things.
Go
That's
do that.
hilarious.
That's amazing.
Can I give you another treat? When you have to
So
let me
I
work.
teach I created a curriculum since we're off like line.
Yeah.
I created a curriculum at the medical school called Religion, Spirituality, and Medicine. And it's where we are training essentially physicians, right? Baby physicians to attend to spirituality at the bedside and to not be afraid of it. And really like not in like a proselytizing way or like, converting people, but really sitting in what gives them meaning and all of this stuff. And so for the first few years that we did this, like my kids would be in the background. I'm like sitting there with the kids and we're talking about like spirituality and like abortion would come up. And I'm like, okay, 1 second. Let's like, or like, schizophrenia or like mental health issues and spirituality. And I'm like, 1 sec.
One sec.
Hold that thought. Love it. Love the trajectory, or like there'd be a med student crying on the camera. And I'm like, wow, this is like real. This is intense. This is good. And my kid's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, so I get it completely. But yeah, it's like the world we live in now, right?
It's the world we live in.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I just that I had
No,
them in
you're
their
okay.
in their baby cage, and they were done. They were done. They're like,
There.
let us out. We can't. So I gave them a treat. So now they're just chewing on that for now. So I'm so sorry about that.
No, 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 you're good.
All right, menopause. Where did we leave off?
We were talking about the roller coaster.
Oh, okay. The
The roller coaster that we did not choose to be on, but that's very much it. You know what I was gonna say? The movie that I don't know if it's Disney or Pixar, I don't know, but what's that movie with all the emotions?
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Love that
When
movie
that
so
movie
much.
when that movie came out, I'm like, "That's what I need." I need, like, little, T-shirts for colors or maybe, like, a little I don't know, to show, like,
Yeah.
"This is today's mood, don't mess with me." But how quickly all the emotions, blend in together. You can feel one moment this, one moment that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, "That's what I need, a visual of what the emotion feels like."
Absolutely, absolutely, and sometimes you can't name it, you can't
No.
understand, you don't know where it comes from. It's very dysregulating, very confusing, especially if you've been a pretty regulated person and methodical and strategic. This, like, grief can feel very, very overwhelming because you're not used to the fluxes of emotions and what you're experiencing, and I think those people really struggle a lot with it too. And so as a friend, what you did was perfect, right? I
I
think
I was hoping, I didn't know, I just wanted her to be okay.
And you know what? That whole trip to me is a blur. So Anna just said right now we
I'm
went
not
to our
surprised.
own rooms. We had our own rooms?
Yeah, we had our own rooms.
I don't remember none of that. I don't remember the only thing I remember because we have pictures is that we went to the swimming pool. I do remember that. And of
Yeah.
course that we went to go see my nephew play because my nephew was in boarding school for a La Barca team, like
The
like
soccer. Madrid.
and so anyways, I remember that, but I don't remember where we stayed. I don't know none of that. That's all just and it's part I'm sure that's part of it, right? Like I can't remember any of that.
You were walking what I felt was very aimlessly, and I would just follow because normally it's like, "Anna, we found this restaurant," or, "Anna, let's go shopping this," or, "Let's go do th" No, we were just kind of, like, going, and which was very odd. So I remember calling my husband and saying, "I'm already in the room. Sandy wanted to go to bed." He's like, "What?" Because he knows Sandy too. He didn't know. I don't think he ever understood the fact that what we were going through because he himself now, I'm seeing this, and men are also going through it, but they're not talking about it.
Mhm.
And when I
Yeah.
was watching her, it was very not like Sandy. And if you know her, you know it right off the bat. But you don't remember being at the restaurant and kind of just very minimal talking. That's not Sandy. Sandy's got a comment for everything and making you laugh. And it was just very odd. So I'm not surprised that you don't remember. But yeah, we went to Arizona and it was still, I think for her, it was her still processing. You know what it was? She was very much in her head. That's how I
So
can
so
describe it.
there's actual data of what happens to people in grief state in terms of brain biochemistry. So this is like it gets rewired actually. And neurologists will tell you this, neurosurgeons and psychiatrists. So this is a very real thing. So this whole concept of like moving, like you just got to keep moving until you finally have some level of clarity is very real. So I think as a friend, what you did was the most perfect thing because people want to fix things. Like we want to make it all better.
Yeah,
And the reality is we tend to feel uncomfortable when people are not themselves.
yeah,
Like when all of a sudden your friend who is like the life of the party becomes like, a dud. They don't want to do anything. They're like really in it and they're struggling. There is a part of your identity that's getting lost in that too. Like now I got to pick up the pieces. Like what's happening? Right. So there's a whole shift for people in
yeah.
relationships when their friends are grieving or their loved ones. And the most important thing we can do is actually not fix it. You can't fix grief. You can't fix loss. You can't fix any of it, but to just sit in it and say a few pivotal things like, I'm here. What's the hardest part of this? Like asking people what they need is really hard because most people don't know. And so
Mm-mm.
just saying, I am here and ready to listen with an open heart without judgment, being present and not allowing them to be alone if you are worried about them. Sometimes people need space to process, but letting them know you're there is really crucial and not having the need to fix it, pivot their mind, make them in a better mood. It just because it doesn't work. And then people are just quote unquote running away from grief, which, by the way, like grief just catches up to you in full force with like horns and like an axe. Like
Oh,
that's just
yeah.
what happens, right? If we ignore and we run away from it. So, yeah, you did the most perfect thing that you could have done as a friend, to be honest. It's really
I feel
beautiful.
relieved.
You did. You did. You can't fix it. People have
No.
to navigate through it.
And I think that's the hardest part is that we're fixers.
Of
How do I
course, yeah.
fix it? There's a problem, it's broken, fix it. And there was nothing, nothing. So, okay, so that's good to know that, you know, for people that have their loved ones around them, that's something that they can use. That's like a I don't want to call it's not a tool, but it's, I don't know, what would you call it? A tactic? It's just something for people to know that if you have a loved one, that just sit with them.
Yes,
Tools.
and I would s there's the tools. So things that are really helpful, are, like, language that leaves things open. So, like, an open curiosity of what's
Mhm.
the hardest thing about this? Not, "Are you okay?" Because most people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm totally fine, I'm totally fine, it's all
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
everything's all fine," right? And then they plaster
Yeah.
a smile on their face, and you're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay."
Mhm.
When they're sharing something with you, saying things like, "That sounds really hard. That makes a lot of sense. I can see how you would feel that way. I'm here with you. Whatever you say, I'm hearing it. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm here." So, like, open language that allows people to just navigate through is really important because at the end of the day, people don't need you to be perfect at it. They just need you to
Mm.
show up. Just need you to show up and be present and remind them that they have a safe place because it's a very dysregulating feeling when you feel out of control and in a grief state, and so knowing that you're safe with somebody is really important. I would also say, and this is because, like, I'm a doctor, so I kind of have to say this, is that while you're sitting in that with people, it is important to also monitor a little bit
Mm.
fears, right? So, like, I kinda can't, like, leave this podcast without being like, "But also, like, grief, you can grieve in any way." But there are things that are maladaptive, and we do, as friends and loved ones, need to be mindful. So, I mean, people do escape grief and loss through, alcohol, drugs,
Yeah.
sex, porn, whatever it is, right? Maladaptive behaviors, lack of self-worth, spiraling down in, like, just this isolation. Like, space is fine, isolation can become really concerning over time. And so if you're noticing a loved one really retreating and doing things that are harmful, talking about ending their life, talking about ending anybody else's life, like big like those things, it is important to step in at that point, but for the most part, most ways of grieving are very normal. And then is a threshold where it becomes maladaptive and concerning for their own safety, right? So, things to watch out for as a friend, but everything else is pretty darn normal.
Okay. Well,
So
that definitely helps.
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
does. All right, travel besties, that's a wrap. If this episode made you laugh, think, or start Googling flights, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Threads. And don't ghost us. Sign up for our newsletter at twopeacockstravel.com. Until next time, pack your curiosity, leave expectations behind, and keep saying yes to yourself. All right, travel besties, that's a wrap. If this episode made you laugh, think, or start Googling flights, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Threads. And don't ghost us. Sign up for our newsletter at twopeacockstravel.com. Until next time, pack your curiosity, leave expectations behind, and keep saying yes to yourself.